Hey guys and gals, and welcome to another video from the team here at BlenderTech.com for Unity 3D. If you enjoy it or learned something from the video, consider liking it and consider subscribing for more Blender, Unity 3D, coding, and all sorts of other CG related videos. Lastly, don't forget our motto, create your way. So I've spent the entire Saturday figuring out how Unity's 4.6 new UI system works, and I think I've got the basics down. I originally had a problem getting my texture and the text to scale properly on different resolutions, and I found out in the end that none of the options they give you for anchors, pivots, and positions really do any justice. The best way to do it is to add an editor script, this one here, which basically just sets the anchor points at the very corners of the UI object. So all you have to do is select your UI object and then go into the editor and just go anchor to corners, and it'll set it exactly to the corners of the UI object. So that was a huge help. Otherwise things were just going all over the place when I switched resolutions trying to test it. Anyways, so the final result we get, I've improved the Binocular script. I've created my own little binocular. It ended up having to be a sprite for use in the new UI system, but an updated version basically that, yeah, it's just it's the same deal basically. I didn't quite center it, I found out, but it's got a PSD as well, and I'll post this all up eventually that you can edit. And yeah, it's just a softly deleted feathered couple ellipses with some feathered little mill lines and a little red dot in the center, and then we have two on top. We have our binocular canvas, so just our regular canvas, which is a screen space overlay. It scales with screen size, which our reference resolution is full HD, and we want to match with their height with a value of 0. Reference pixels per unit 72. We want nothing blocking our graphic raycaster. That was getting in the way of me for a while. And then the actual texture is this here, and it's the features in Unity actually worked to allow it to conform to any resolution, and any attempts to change that should have it going back to its regular size. Apparently not at the moment. It was earlier. Anyways, so that's that. And then there's just two text layers: a distance readout, which is just a simple text one, which you add from the UI level. You've got text, as well as, I believe I used image, not raw image, and it doesn't really matter what you put in here. It's all controlled by the scripts. This one doesn't need to be here actually. And then there's this neat little font that I added on as well. And then the second one is the zoom level, same deal. It's just slightly smaller and in red, obviously. And lastly, we've added on to our I've removed the camera switch script because it was just getting in the way and it was garbage essentially. But in updating the script, you can see the original one compared to the new one, obviously a lot more advanced. There's still a lot of optimization that can be done, but we have a bunch more variables that we can adjust now, and also it can be adapted to all sorts of different things with the new UI system. I've figured out now how to finally attach different types of UI game objects, 2 variables, as well as how canvases work. And I've also added a simple sound. However, I don't do a lot with sounds, and it's the best sounding one I could get. And then in our camera, we've added an audio source so that it's able to listen to it. However, we don't actually include an audio clip or set any settings except for the volume. That is all controlled by the script. Again, remember, I'm using Visual Studio. It's no different than Mono. I can just debug on the fly. So our old Binocular script was quite simple. The new one, quite a bit, not quite a bit, but a fair amount larger. So I've just added a basic update changelog to it with some future goals, where I'd like to decrease our mouse look sensitivity when we zoom in at every level. I'd like to create an array for zoom levels instead of just using 3 or 4 if statements. I'd like to calculate the zoom level property. Trying to do a Majolo kind of worked, but it also it left some errors where I think if rounding either up or down might have fixed it, but I was running out of steam when I got to that point. So anyways, yeah, we basically changed from the old on GUI to the new Canvas UI system. We've added multiple sound levels, added sound, customized the texture, and we've added raycasting for a distance meter. So under our global variables, we have the new Canvas UI variables. So our canvas is variable name is Binoc. We have 2 UI text variables. One is disttext for distance, one is zoom level text. Then we have raycasting variables. They don't show up in the inspector, but I've hide an inspector here anyway, just for getting in the habit of remembering to put it when you want to hide public variables. So we have a vector 3, which is a ray direction, which basically is just telling Unity the direction that we're raycasting from. Then we have a raycast hit variable, named hit. That's where the raycast hits and returns the distance. Then we just have a simple game object, which is named player, and that's where the raycasts are emitted from. And then, as before, we have a smooth view function. This should probably be down here, actually, with our field of view variables. Again, we have our stock field of view of 60. We have our zoom levels 1, 2, and 3 of 35, 25, and 15. And then we have our audio variables, being our audio clip, which is named zooming in sound. And everything's all assigned in the inspector. So once the scripting is, or once all this code is put onto the script and it's attached to the camera game object, then you just have to, attach everything to their respective variables. Anyways, so again, we're using the start function. So we start with Binoc, so that's our canvas. So the entire canvas, we start with it disabled, so that way we just have our regular player control script, just our regular view. And then we also set both of the text UI game objects to null or nil, or whatever you'd like to call a blank string, and just so that there's no text remaining we left some in the inspector. It basically just zeroes them out since we're going to be changing it with code. And then in the update function, if again, you can change it to a key press easily, but again, if the right mouse button is held down, then it calls the canvas function, or it calls the call canvas function, and the call canvas function is this one, in which we enable our canvas. So we enable our texture and the text, and then if we press the keyboard number 1, then it plays the zooming in sound with the pitch of 1.5. The camera field of view changes to our zoom 1 value, and our zoom level text is set to zoom 2x. And like I said, in the future I'd like to actually calculate this properly. That's why I didn't just leave this as one string. And it's the same for every single zoom level, just the pitch changes accordingly, as well as the zoom level and the zoom variable. Otherwise it's all the same. And then if the player lets go of the right mouse button, so else, an else statement, then we call the dismiss canvas function, which simply just sets the camera's field of view back to the stock field of view. And we don't even need the transform part. I was just trying out different ways. And then we turn off we turn off the canvas, and we set the zoom level text to zoom 0x, which is just so that the next time it is called, you have zoom 0x instead of whatever the previous zoom level was. And then we also do, during a fixed update, so slightly less often than the update function. It depends on the FPS rate. There's a great link here for a way to see the differences between fixed update, late update, and regular update, and it shows how each frame is drawn and everything. And so basically all the raycasting is just done on fixed update, which is essentially just keeps all the physics in sync with no matter what the FPS is. And I assume this would save you a little bit of performance, since fixed update is called slightly less often, but it's not major. Anyways, so we take our ray direction variable and we assign it to a transform direction, which is just a simple vector 3 forward, so straight forward. And then if the ray cast from the object we've assigned to player, which would be our camera, I believe, yeah. That goes out in the ray direction, so straight forward until it hits something. And if it hits something, it gives out, then it changes the canvas's text to distance plus the hit distance. So we have our variable hit, and we have our variable, dot distance is just a method of the raycast function plus m for meters. and then if it doesn't hit anything, it just simply changes again the oh, I'm not used to these new terms, the canvas text text to no reading. And I believe that is all there is to it. Yep. Oh, right. And to use the new UI functions, you have to add in using UnityEngine.ui to get the text to display properly, well, at all. Otherwise, nothing else has really changed. It's still a fairly basic script. Again, I'd like to make these changes in the future, but I've spent all day on this trying to learn the new system. Well, not all day, I did a lot of sleeping too, but starting to run out of steam, so I'm calling this version 1.0 beta because it works. So anyways, the final result that we get is, as before, sorry I have gizmos on, but our regular player walk and run script and our look script, and then when you hold down the right mouse button we get our texture up with a distance counter, and as you can see it's not quite centered. That's about how much I'm off there. About the height of that line there is how much my centering was off in Photoshop. And then if we hold down 1, we get our audio and it zooms in and then gives us our zoom level. Same with pressing the number 2. Slightly higher pitch and more zoom, and the same with number 3, the highest pitch and the highest zoom level, and then if we let go it brings us back. So same as before, just a little bit fancier and getting more advanced. So anyways, that is about it. It's essentially another script giveaway. This one I definitely can't fit on screen due to all of my, I can't even remember how to full screen Visual Studio. Alt-Shift-Enter due to all my commenting, but it's fairly basic. And a lot of this really can be put in the update function, but again, it's always good to get in the habit of learning to make your own functions. I believe it leads to cleaner code overall. Anyways, that is about all. I just wanted to share this with you guys. It will be on BlenderTek.com under the assets page once I get around to it. Earlier today I updated it with the older version as well as every other script from what we've been learning. So anyways, thanks for watching from the team here at BlenderTek.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something about raycasting, about audio, anything in general, then consider liking it, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. We're now on Twitter at twitter.com/blender_tech and Facebook at facebook.com/blendertechpage, all one word. If you dislike this video for some reason, please tell us why, so we can continually improve our videos based on your community input. We also take requests and call for help. So if you'd like to see something or if you're having issues with something, then just let us know and we will try to make a video for you if time permits. That is all for now, so see you next time, and remember, create your way.